Welcome to another edition of the Horns Down podcast. This is the Atonement episode. I have Nick, I have Steven, I have Jay, I have Seth here. Guys, look, let's keep it. No, we're not going to keep it civil. I'm lying. Look, we got net ass this weekend, and you know what's about to go down. So we'll catch you on the other side of the intro.
You know, there's a lot of great OU podcasts, but there's only one where the horns are always down. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Horns Down podcast.
What's up, people? What's up, family? Go ahead and hit that like button, not only to this channel, but to everybody's channels across the board. Man, you know what a wonderful day it is. A Sunday after a win, 6-0, going into a bye week. Here's what I have to say to start this off before I pass the mic. We're 6 games in the season. OU is 6 games into the season, and I still don't know if they played anybody yet. I'm not convinced about OU right now. So I'm still trying to figure that out. Okay. So my brother, okay, Steven, and Mr. Child Please himself, Nino's Corner, you know what I'm saying? Nick Battle Day here. But gotta say my fam Jay is here. But I'm gonna pass the mic first to this man, Seth Oliveris. He had the courage to compare Quinn Ewers to Trent Dilfer, and he was clowned for that. He was called delusional. He was called crazy. All of these different things. So I'm gonna pass the mic to Seth and just let him drop this knowledge on you about what he saw from Quinn Ewers.
Hey, first of all, what a game! What an environment! I mean, I wasn't there, but from everything that I've heard from people that were in the building, it was electric. As far as my comments last week about Quinn and Trent, I mean, Quinn balled out, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know what anybody else is going to say on here, but to me, he did his thing. Now, I've heard, that maybe some of his maybe some of the things that Sark had him do through him maybe kind of limited that. And I don't know what the disconnect there might be, but I mean, as far as what he was doing, especially like from the second quarter on, I mean, I felt like he was kind of right on the money. Like he was, what was it, like 19 straight completed passes or something like that, 19, 20, I don't know. Maybe it was more than that.
That was like 22, wasn't it? It was something
was
crazy.
It
was something crazy, man.
It was something crazy. And then, so I just recently watched the game again, and knowing that he was going to complete all those, it was just kind of amazing to watch. Like every time I knew he was about to throw it, it's about to get completed. And so, like, I think Quinn, to me, he's obviously he's way better than Trent Dilfer ever dreamed of being. As far as what my comparison was, though, as far as him being surrounded by this kind of otherworldly talent, I mean, I think that was confirmed as well. And I think it really, the one big piece that I feel like we didn't get to see at their full potential was Sanders, with him being, limited. Definitely wasn't 100%. And so I feel like that's kind of like that secret weapon that no other offense can really replicate. And so OU's defense kind of, didn't have to deal with that. But they had to deal with all the other guys, the usual suspects, Xavier Worthy, Jonathan Brooks balled out. I mean, Mitchell, he didn't, explode on scene, but he had a few catches that were pretty pivotal. Yeah, so, I mean, Quinn, I got nothing bad to say about Quinn after this game, especially. He did his thing.
Well, if you don't have anything bad to say, I definitely got something bad to say. He came out of that hole and he got his ass popped, and that ball came out too, and it was a big play. I tell you that right there. Jay, go ahead and tell us what you thought about the game as well before we go ahead and let these two knuckleheads over here go ahead and
Screw you.
Have a little I'll come to Jesus meeting. Go ahead.
I mean, you are really rubbing it in deep and throwing as much salt and everything as possible. I'm going to say this, though. Steven's face is priceless right now. I have never seen this man just so I hate my life right now face. This is just the why and the bleep in my here face. Yeah, this is some BS. I got to deal with these knuckleheads face. I love it. I mean, I love it, man. But Steven is my friend. He is my close friend, and I love everything about him, especially when I could come in and talk about how we gave it to that ass in the game. And especially because this is the funny thing. There were two statements said to me in our Smack Talk sessions and the SEC Connect sessions. I was told one, Dylan Gabriel being our top rusher was no way we was going to win a game that way. No way possible, right? That was one. Two, the other one was going to be one in the trenches. That wasn't a shot at us, but this was a definite one of those definitive things. This game was going to be won in the trenches. A tradition as old as the game itself. Oklahoma just taxed that behind on the trenches on both sides. Woo! And this is the reason why I was so hyped about the game and my mentally prepared and why I felt like we had a chance. Bill Beatonbow's been doing this over 10 years. He's put together some lines. He's put together some Joe Moore Award winners. And as down on this line as we all are, we have been this season, I saw some gelling in there that was, oh, no, they're not afraid of Texas. And that's the difference. And it's funny because I'm actually had a conversation in my Discord right now about Texas versus Bama. And I said it before the game started between Texas and Bama. I said 8 out of 10, Bama probably wins. But Texas can go out there and beat them around because one thing about Texas, I'll say this, they're not afraid of Bama. Zero fear whatsoever. And I think that that's what helps Bama win most of their games before the game starts is that fear. Most teams are just like, oh, no, they're big, bad Bama. I'm a little nervous. Nah, Texas don't care. Texas is like, nah, it's Bama. Who cares? I'm going to go out there and fight y'all, and y'all do it. Same thing can be said about our Red River every time, dog. We look at each other, we're like, I don't mean, that's the other team on the other side, whatever.
We don't care about each other.
Work. And as I said, a tradition as old as the game itself, we went out there and we pushed around in those trenches. So that's the thing that jumped out to me the most, man. Trenches was a battle, and we was just back on top like we normally are, man. There's no shade to Texas, though. Texas big men are big, and they work, and they're physical. We just able to outdo it, and that's how we was able to win that game. Point blank period. Because both teams made a lot of mistakes. We both had some injuries that were unfortunate. And yeah, that was it, man. That was a game. My heart was palpitating the whole time.
So let me go ahead and jump in before I pass this to Saint Nick over here. All right. Let me put it like this right here. I'm going to show y'all some respect, all right? I underestimated your defense, okay? Very tight, like what I saw. Defensive line, man, hey, Byron and Murphy, man, hey, those guys are going to play in the NFL for sure. You know?
Sweat.
No problem. Yeah, Sweat, whatever, yeah. Those guys, hey, they're good. This is what I'm going to say. I heard y'all two jokers say that it was going to be one in the trenches, all right? I saw Kelvin Banks and DJ Campbell get their ass whooped all day long. Bothroyd, Ethan Downs.
Here we go.
Trace Ford. R. Mason. I can keep going. Lacey. 5 sacks, baby. 5 sacks is all I got to say. You want these horns up? These horns are going down. Y'all said the trenches. We won the trenches, in my opinion, on both sides. So, Nick, I'm going to let you explain to us, what did you see in this game?
Hey, first off, Buddha's going to like me right now because I had my video this morning about the game recap. And you guys know I'm not only a Texas fan, I'm a grad, right? So I keep it really honest. Look, the way that Texas lost this game, it was utterly disappointing, right? They came out with no fire. They came out with no juice up front. They were very I knew exactly the first play of the game. I knew what was coming because we'd done it 4 out of the 5 games previously. It was very predictable. Look here, we did say the game will be won in the trenches, and it was won in the trenches. It was won by Oklahoma. Oklahoma was a more physical team yesterday. They were the more efficient team. They looked like they were the more well-coached team yesterday. BV outcoached Sark yesterday. Levy on the offensive side of the ball had a better game plan for his quarterback than Sark did for his quarterback. Texas fans, let me tell you guys something. And some of you guys going to be pissing me when I say this, all right? I don't want to hear shit about no fucking refs. I'm sorry for cursing. I don't want to hear shit about refs, okay? I don't. Because the refs didn't call any calls yesterday. Any. The only call that I had a problem with the refs was that pass interference in the last drive. That's the only call that I had a problem with. Other than that, they let these boys play the entire game. There were pass interference calls that didn't get called the whole game. Did you guys notice that there was holding almost on every play, egregious holding, but none of it got called on either side? So, folks, leave the refs out of this. The refs did not decide this game. I understand you want to talk about the face mask in the first play of the game. Yes, it was on the kickoff, but guess what? That was the script drive. Okay, so face masks happened. We'd have been 15 yards up. It's the same script, same play. OU would have been ready for that same play that we have seen over and over for the past 5 games, and it probably still gets picked off just 15 yards later, right? So that's first thing. I don't want to hear anything about the refs. Second thing is stop talking about December. I don't want to hear shit about Texas and OU playing in December. We said this in 2021, and guess what happened, folks? We went 5-7. Stop focusing on the wrong things. Win one game at a time. And if we handle business every week, then, and if Oklahoma handles business every week, then we will see each other in December. But stop acting like this is going to happen in December. You know what I'm saying? If we pull another game where our starting quarterback has 3 turnovers, we ain't going nowhere in December. Okay? We'll be going bowling in December, but not Big 12 championship in December. Third off, I want to say Texas. We basically played ourselves into a 13 to 17 point hole due to some of the dumb things we did. Interception in the red zone for Oklahoma got Oklahoma a touchdown. Okay. Roughing the kicker after stopping OU on 3rd and 5, and now it's 4th and 5, being too aggressive. We got to know down and distance. It's 4th and 5. We understand if we run into a kicker that's 5 yards, automatic first down. We already had 1 block kick and we got a touchdown. It's not going to happen again, folks. Good teams clean stuff up and they don't let the same mistake happen, especially on special teams twice in a row. That happens. It extends the drive. Guess what happens? OU gets another field goal out of that. That's 10 points, folks. And then 1st and goal from the 1 freaking yard line. We got 4 tries. At a minimum, you should get 3 points. At a freaking minimum. If you don't get it on 3rd and 1, I get it. Go for it again. But look what? At a minimum, we should have 3 points. You should have just kicked the field goal and got points. Or at a max, 7 points. We didn't get a damn thing because OU's defense controlled the line. Look, OU, great game. I ain't hating at all. You guys know me. Chris has been dealing with me for a couple years. Seth, Jay for about a year or so. I keep it honest and funky and as real as I can. And I'm a realist when it comes to football. I do talk a lot of stuff. That's just how we get down. We talk a lot of stuff and have a lot of fun. That's just what we do. But I'm honest. OU whooped our ass in the trenches. They were more physical, they were more prepared, and they were better coached. And those are the 3 things I thought that Texas was going to have, and they did not have it for this game. And that's what happened, and that's why OU was able to take this for a win. One thing I will say to Texas fans, look, we still got a whole another 6 games. You win week by week, and maybe we will have the opportunity to play OU in a bit, in that Big 12 championship game. But what I will say is these teams both play physical. They played great, and as bad as Texas played, I gave them a C+ on the offense side of the ball. As bad as they played, they still had a shot to win this game. So you guys continue to fight, play your game the way that you're supposed to, and hopefully we'll have a chance to meet up again in December. Hopefully, but don't plan on it, because when you start planning on stuff, you start overlooking stuff. Mm-hmm. And my last point, I'm tired. I don't want to hear anything about how Quinn overcame all this adversity. Quinn put us in this adversity. So, I don't want to hear about overcoming adversity when you put us in the damn adversity. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. All right. So the last couple years, we always talk about how Dak is so good at bringing us back. Well, last year he led the league in interceptions. He had to pass himself out of it. right? And so it's just like these are empty yards. Now, what Quinn had wasn't empty yards yesterday, but I don't want to hear about the overcoming adversity and being this, that, and the other, because you put us in there. Play clean, crisp ball. We don't have to be in any kind of adversity. We can have a shot to straight up win this game. But that's all I got to say, man. Buddha, look, talk that stuff to me, Buddha. I know what it is, man. Look, I talk a lot of mess, but it is what it is. You guys wanted more physical team. Kudos to OU.
Hey, shout out to everybody in the comments right now. Go ahead and leave a like on the video or whatnot. So, Cap, hey, you're definitely right. Hey, this is rat poison, right? There are bigger and better obstacles that we're trying to tackle now. Just because we're 6-0, we just matched our win total from last year, guys. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. So let's pace it. And I think me saying that is pretty much the equivalent of what Nick was saying. Like, hey, there's still a path for everything we want. We got to take it one game at a time. So 1-0 next week, right? Against ourselves. So with that being said, let's stop the silliness and let's get to it. Steven, bring your ass to front and center. I need to talk to you real quick. I heard you say, I heard you talk about my quarterback.
He's frozen. His face is frozen. That's what it is. It's one of those.
Am I going to be able to? Am I going to? Well, what's the decorum here? Am I going to be able to talk on the game, or
you
do
can
you
talk
just
how
want to
you
roast?
want, but you
if this is just a roast of whatever, then that's cool. I can accept it. I can sit in it. But everybody else got to kind of make an opening diatribe of their thoughts. There are some things that some people here said that I totally agree with. There are some things that people said that I 100% disagree with that I wanted to address. But if you want to look, if you want to make this show more about making me take accountability for where I was wrong or whatever narrative you want to spin, go ahead, dude. We lost. I don't like losing. I own it. It's how I was raised.
Look, I'm going to do both, but I wanted to give you a chance, but I just wanted to ask you some questions, Steven. That's all I wanted to do. All I wanted to do was just ask simply this right here. How about Dylan Gabriel now? How about Dylan Gabriel? Hasn't played great against the top 25 team. Dips in production. This is the Cotton Bowl. Some quarterbacks explode and thrive. Some quarterbacks will. What are your thoughts about Dylan Gabriel now?
So for anybody that is subscribed and watches Fanatic Perspective, you know exactly how I felt in my post-game reaction yesterday. Please go check that out. I said Dylan Gabriel was the MVP of yesterday's game, no doubt about it. If you watch football and understand what you're looking at, he was fantastic. His command of the offense, his marriage, the brain trust and mind meld that he has with Jeff Levy and in critical situations. He was, what can you say? I asked about the running element because I noticed on film, and this is actually something I was dead on about. I said OU's best running offense was your design quarterback runs. I don't shy away from that. That's exactly what we saw happen yesterday. I said that you guys were running it more this year. You did. Now, the success that OU had in terms of, the big chunk plays and running on third down, that was extremely impressive, what we saw from Dylan. He showed a lot of heart yesterday. And if you're an OU fan, you should be hella proud that that's your quarterback. And for those of you that are still in the OU fan base that are asking about the next quarterback, shame on you. Honestly, that's a guy you guys should be promoting and lifting up as a Heisman contender, as a Heisman candidate, and somebody who you can say, and hey, this is a lineage of great Oklahoma quarterbacks that we want to, showcase. So I have no bone to pick against Dylan Gabriel other than good game. He got us. We send heaters at him. He answered the questions. The plays where we trapped him and we had some traps set for him, we did not take advantage of those. Okay, but the Bug Thompson drop pick in the end zone where he set the trap and beautifully tricked Dylan. You have to execute those plays when you get those opportunities. Mm-hmm. We did not. Yeah. And so Dylan balled out. He was the MVP of the game. I don't think that's up for debate, honestly.
Steven.
Yeah.
Let me ask. So, and I still got to watch your post game, and I know just from what you're saying and what I know from you, from watching you for over the years, last 3 or 4 years, as a fan of your content, I know you were thorough and you were sound with your analysis of the game, and it wasn't coming from any place of irrational bias or anything like that. You were very objective, I think, with how you view the game, even if it's a team, a game that involves your team. So I'll get to that on my own. I'll watch that. I just been running around town, but I want to ask you, what are some of the things you maybe disagree with, that some of the takes you've been seeing out there from Texas fans, or maybe something you heard just now? Like, what I'm curious just to know where you disagree with maybe popular opinion or so to speak.
Yeah, sure. So, I love and respect Nino. That's my brother, and we in it 40 grand to forever, right? But the narrative about Quinn Ewers and him putting us in that hole, and that's to me, that's a lose-lose mentality. And I mean, a part of life is overcoming adversity. So because if he had not overcome adversity, we would really be drilling the kid. And then the kid actually shows mental toughness and not only overcomes adversity, but puts us in the lead and completes 22 straight passes. I think he does deserve credit for that. I don't think that's fair to say, oh, well, because that's life. Because I would hate to say, you know what, you can't come back because you put us in a hole here before, so there's no coming back from it. I don't think that's fair. And so I see a lot of people trying to isolate blame on Quinn Ewers. And when he was one of our best football players in the second half of that football game, I understand how we started out. But there were several coaching issues. I mean, if we're talking about people that put us in a hole, he's not the only person that put us in a hole. We can start from the initial, every decision Sark made at the beginning of the game. So I personally disagree with what Nino said, and I think that is an unfair characterization of Quinn Ewers. That's just my opinion.
Look, you don't have to apologize for disagreeing with Nick. I disagree with Nick all the time. I disagree with Jay all the time. Jay, look, Jay still hasn't wore that Joe Milton Sucks t-shirt. I'm still upset about.
Where's my Spencer Rattler one? We beat y'all. What's all that matters?
That's factual.
Yeah. We whooped that ass. That's what we did.
Now, Stevie, I want to joke with you, but I get where you're coming from, brother, and I understand that. I thought it was a really, really well played game. I was there. I saw everything, every emotion. I went through every emotion. I said, damn, they're creeping up on us. Are we mature enough to get this? Going back to the Florida State game, which we've talked about, I think we talked about twice last week, right? On the SEC Connect. Shout out to the SEC Connect. Follow us on that. Like, subscribe, do all of that. And then on Fanatic Perspective as well, the very next day, we talked about that Florida State game kind of being a benchmark for, I guess you could say, OU, as far as, hey, facing a really good defense, facing all this talent. So biggest thing was that you saw that happen to us that in that game right there, 55 seconds on the clock. You're thinking that we can move the ball. There's still plenty enough time. We're not even in position. We can't even get there. And I know we're playing, pretty much ragtag or whatnot, but to see us overcome that adversity with 1:17 and move the ball the way that we were, it was a thing of beauty, just to be quite frank. Dillon Gabriel, I've been critical of Dillon Gabriel just as much as any Texas fan probably has, but yesterday he showed up and showed out. So no, I mean, I'm excited about what's going forward. I'll pass the mic to anybody else that wants to.
Yeah, let me snag that real quick. R. Jacob says that he thinks that we don't believe that Dillon Gabriel can replicate what he did in that performance. Dog, he had like 100 yards against Nebraska. Like, we've seen him run. Whenever he runs, he had like 70-something yard touchdown run. We've seen him scramble and run like that. The problem last season was we did not have an actual backup quarterback that was reliable enough, because why? We lost 2 5-star quarterbacks. They transferred right when BV took the job. Like, what do you think we were going to do? We went and scraped the bottom of the barrel and tried to find some additional transfers to have bodies. We needed warm bodies. That's the thing. Now we got Jackson Arnold, and General Booty has a year underneath Levy's system, which is complex. You can listen to Joel Klatt. He explained it, how complex that system is.
His parents got to be something else, bro.
Hey, well, General Booty. Hey, you know the Booties, don't you? You know Josh Booty.
I know.
And yeah, you know all them LSU Booties. They just love the word booty, I guess. Anyway,
Nah,
they want to make it. They want to make it fun. Anyway, my point.
booty.
Right. My point is that we just did not have anybody that we could just throw in the game, right? Like for you all for Texas, Malik Murphy would have been that guy, but he was hurt last year, right? You know, so you didn't get to put him in. You had Hudson Card. You was playing Hudson Card between him and Quinn Ewers. I know y'all would have preferred to play Malik, but he was hurt. You know what I'm saying? So for us, we know DG can run. He can scoop. Like he's not the fastest. He's deceptively fast. Isn't that what they say? Isn't that what they say?
Fast. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's deceptively quick. We'll say that. Deceptive word is always what's added to a quarterback like him that you don't believe can move. He can, and he knows how to cut. He even knows how to sometimes not get himself level. But besides that, we know he can replicate that. We've seen it before. This is not something new when it comes to his game. So I wanted to address that part. Secondly, I think one of the big things too is that Quinn played a solid game overall. I mean, he only had 8 incompletions the entire game. But the thing that I said keys to victory is we had to make him turn the ball over. He's susceptible. He's prone to turn it over. He is. That was all last season. This year, he cleaned it up real good. We was like, okay, he's not making those mistakes. He's not forcing throws. He's taking his time. We forced it. We forced the issue. That pass that Gentry intercepted, he hesitated so long that Gentry was like, he's going to throw this pass.
Yeah, he double snapped it. I was like, it's a pick.
He threw the pass.
As soon as I saw it, it's a pick. It's a pick. It's a pick. I knew it.
Class at the same. It wasn't Joel. Yeah, it was. Was it Joel on the? Yeah, it was Joel was on there. He said it. No, it's Herbie. It was Herbie on there. I'm sorry. He called that exact same thing. He was like, he hesitated before he threw it, and then he threw it. It was like he was like, should I throw it? Should I throw it? I'm gonna throw it. No, don't throw it. The second interception was just happenstance. That was just was just the luck of the Irish. You get your dude leveled, and then and Nick, thank you.
What?
Thank you for telling your boy Nash that wasn't a dirty hit.
No,
that was shouldered.
Listen here. Listen here.
Annoys the hell out of me.
Jay, I told you guys.
I told. Who said it was a dirty hit?
Nash said it was targeting, and I said no, it wasn't. That's shoulder to chest. But look, I've been catching a lot of flack today, Jay, because people are like, "Oh, you're defending this." I'm like, "No, I'm not defending. I'm defending good football.
You're defending good football."
My wife gets mad at me all the time. Because she goes, "You're so all over the place. You're here, you're there." I said, "No, if somebody has a good play, and even if it's against my team, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna say, man, that's a good damn play. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. It's a good play."
We're here, Nick. That's how I am. I'm the exact same way. I'm a fan of the game.
Before I pass the mic back to Seth, look, we do have to get into this segment of the show. Okay.
Here we go. What we got?
Let's just get right to it.
You know, there's a lot of great OU podcasts, but there's only one where the horns are always.
Operating under that assumption and we can go forth from there, I would agree with you a little bit to the point of I don't know who OU is just yet. There's still a lot of questions I have. Now, they've gone about answering some of those questions just because they have not worried about who they're playing. They've just tried to play Oklahoma football, which I do think is a good thing.
The point about man coverage, there's a reason why everybody plays zone Texas with a zone, right? There's a reason for that. And y'all know that too. So let's be explicitly clear about the coverage. The second thing is this environment in the Cotton Bowl. It's a whole different animal. Some guys thrive in this, like Quinn Ewers coming out cold as a freshman. Some guys wilt in the Cotton Bowl.
This episode of the Horns Down Podcast is sponsored by Texas Kool-Aid, made with real Texas spirit. Just remember, folks, don't drink it too fast. Guys, look.
Hey, let me say something.
I gotta say, you're good at this, dog.
I'm gonna get your ass though. Don't worry about it. Your time is coming. Hey,
look, you know, man. Look, you know what I'm saying. I had to do it.
Hey, Chris. Hey, Chris. Let me say something.
That was good.
Go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna talk about DG for a little bit. All right. You know what was different between DG and Quinn Ewers yesterday?
What's that?
When the game was on the line, the coach trusted who to go make you that play when it's time to make that play. When it was 3rd and 10, when Texas was driving down to potentially get a field goal or get a touchdown, we handed the ball off to our running back on 3rd and 10. He did get 6 yards. He got 6 yards. I will give Jonathan Brooks that, which, Chris, please give Jonathan Brooks some props. Put some respect in his name. But anyways.
Okay.
You know what? I did.
I think I'm mature enough. I think I'm going to do it for you and Steven on this episode. I'm mature enough to say I was wrong. Jonathan
He's a dude.
Brooks.
He's a dude.
No. He's not a bum. I'm not there yet with the dude stuff, but he's not a bum. I was wrong.
He's a Texas running back. He's a dude to me.
He's a dude, my fool.
I was wrong.
But I want to say this: 3rd and 10, games on the line. Your game is tied. You have the most highly ranked quarterback, one of the top 3 most highly ranked quarterbacks to ever be in the recruiting system, as your quarterback with Xavier Worthy, Adonai Mitchell, JT Sanders. Gunnar Helm had a hell of a game yesterday too as well. Jonathan Brooks behind him, who's a good receiver as well. And we don't let our guy go out there and go get some yardage for us. We hand the ball off. To me, that was a coaching mistake, because if I got one of the most talented guys here in the country that everybody screams about, when the game's on the line, I want Buddy I'm not handing the ball off, and I'm not settling for a field goal. I'm going for the win. I'm going for a touchdown. If you don't get the touchdown, Burt kicked the field goal. Guess what? It's 6 yards back. The field goal he kicked had like 10 yards of leg in it. There was enough room for him to get that field goal. But even if it wasn't, you got to trust your quarterback, man. What if Brooks goes out there and gets a tackle for a loss because our lineman's getting their ass whooped all game? Trust your quarterback. Trust this 5-star, most talented arm guy we've seen here in the history of the program, all the hoopla on him. Trust him. Go let this man go out there and win you a game, right? I want Texas, when you have a guy of that stature and that caliber here at this school or at any school, you win games because of that guy. He's just not a guy that's there winning games with you. Oklahoma put the trust in DG yesterday. Oklahoma won that game because of DG yesterday. Levy put the trust in Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel performed. He did his thing yesterday. He led them 77 seconds left or 72 seconds left, whatever it was.
Yep.
And I know Texas was playing prevent, which is another thing I want to talk about eventually with PK. But look here, whatever the defense was, DG led his team down there, and he got a damn touchdown with 10 seconds left on the clock. Levy trusted his dude. Even though different situations, he still trusted his dude, and his dude went out there and performed.
Let me point this out. And this is where, like our Jacob mentioned in here, that we were, only planning for Texas the entire time, blah, blah, blah. There was an article, there was a report by OU Insider. I mentioned this in my recap earlier this morning on my morning after. If you see this will be a repeat for you all. But for everybody else here in the panel, let me explain what happened. On Wednesday, Oklahoma did a drill. Minute 15 seconds left, no timeouts. You got to go 80 yards from the field. They practiced that exact scenario Wednesday. That level of meticulous detail, that's what Bill Belichick does. That's the stuff you saw from the Patriots in their championship runs. It makes me think about Malcolm Butler is the guy. So I forgot it in the video, but here it is. Malcolm Butler, when he got the interception at the 1 yard line, when everybody said beast mode should get the ball, they had Russell Wilson throw it the first time because clockwise, you throw it once. If you don't get it, then you just pound it 2 times, and that's hopefully you get the touchdown. Malcolm Butler got burnt on that exact play that Russell Wilson did like 4 or 6 weeks before in practice. And so the minute he saw it coming, he was like, oh, I know what it's about to do. He jumped the route, got the interception, boom, Patriots won the Super Bowl. That to me is huge in just preparation this season. If you're practicing that scenario on a regular basis, and DG went the field. And so they're like, all right. And so that's kind of, and Nick, to answer that question and why you mentioned that, that's why they trusted DG on that. He's seen that before, seen that scenario where he has to get down the field in 72, 75 seconds to get a score. He was able to do that in practice, and honestly, that's where that trust came in. I hate the fact that I've seen this from Sark before, that the trust in Quinn goes out the window in certain scenarios. Like last year, I think they kind of was giving the ball to Bijan. Actually, the one time he shouldn't have trusted Quinn was in
Oklahoma State game. Yeah.
That you don't trust your quarterback in a game where you've got 40-mile-per-hour winds. That is coaching malpractice. He literally set that man up to fail. Because in that game, that stadium, the way it's built, the wind is awful. And then you add more wind on it, that's when you just hand the ball to Bijan and let him just figure it out.
I just want to jump in.
Jonathan Brooks, it should have been more Quinn to close that game out. Let the man put his talent out there. Because he only had 80 completions all game. He did not play bad.
You gotta let your dude go out there. I mean, he was
Learn
the best.
from it.
He was let's be honest. Brooks was the best player in the field, I think, that day. And I think it was 1A, 1B between Brooks and Quinn. When you got your best player in the field, Quinn is the guy that has the ball in his hands 24/7, though. We need 10 yards, man. I don't want OU to get the ball back. I don't want him to get the ball back. Whittington was going off that game. He had 115 yards, 51 yards of yak. Get Whittington something,
especially across the middle. Y'all were killing on the underneath.
That's what I'm get him something where he can run the ball. If he get 8-9 yards, then maybe we go for it on the 4th and 1, and we just say, look, we're gonna put the gas on the damn pedal and we're gonna make it happen. But when you go for a running play on 3rd and 10 and you only get 6, guess what? You don't have a choice now. You got to kick a field goal. And so you kick a field goal, and then you let DG have 77 seconds to go down there, march on the field, and we played this prevent defense where we got killed. It just play regular defense.
Well, go ahead. I just wanted to step in. Sorry, Nick. I just wanted to step in because I want to ask Steven this. And I don't want this, Steven, I don't want this
still
to
on the
be,
show.
This is not a dumb question. This is a real question. Do you have any, after this game, do you have any doubts about Sarkisian?
Nothing changed in my opinion with Sark. I thought you saw the best of Sark, and you saw the things that we ask questions about Sark all the time. The exact situation that Nino's talking about, to me, it's not so much a lack of trust in Quinn. It's something he's always done. He likes to go 2 for 1. Why he does this, I don't know. He's been doing this since Casey Thompson. When he gets down there, he likes to run the football. When we had Bijan and Roshan, he did the same thing. He did the same thing with Hudson Card. He's now doing it with Quinn. He gets down. He did it in the Alabama game. If you remember, he likes to go 2 for 1. He'll run the football on 3rd and 8 and then make his decision on whatever play he wants to run on 4th down. I don't agree with that tactic. It's something that he consistently does. It reminds me of Tom Herman in the binder. It's because if we want to talk about like Quinn's recruiting prowess and all that stuff aside, who cares? The bottom line is he was the hottest player in the game at that point. He was 23 of 24 and in the second half.
19 straight completions.
That's what I said.
Yeah. So in that scenario, right? If somebody is also, you guys told me that Oklahoma has a great defense. Do we agree that Oklahoma's defense is great?
Yeah.
Do we agree on that?
Yeah.
Right. So to complete 19 straight passes against that level of defense, to go 23 of 24 in the set when everything's on the table, and then you get down there, and then you get back to, well, we normally go 2 for 1 here. Because Jahdae Barron, if anybody wants to go and listen to that audio, Jahdae Barron, Jay just talked about what you guys normally practice. Well, Jahdae Barron said, hey, in that situation, we've normally practiced. We're going to try to slow the game down, get points. Defense is supposed to close. That's what they normally practice. I just don't agree with Sarkisian's philosophy on how to approach that. He was not aggressive enough as a play caller and as a head coach, period. I rather go down, run, and I've said this consistently, even when we do the 2 for 1 in the first quarter or the second quarter or whatever. It's not because you know what? It's not, you can't say it's a lack of trust in Quinn when he spread them out at the 5-yard line in his own end zone. He's throwing 7 routes with Quinn, dotting people up back there. Like now, there's another thing here that we haven't talked about. He also didn't trust some of the pass protection things that were going on. I know Sark had an issue with some of the stuff where we go play action and some of the stuff is developing. He was afraid of having a negative play of knocking us out of field goal range. I know that was another thing going on in the back of his mind as well. So when we got to a certain point, he's just trying to at least save those 3 points instead of more dominant of his brain. Hey, we're on fire right now. This OU defense, Billy Bowman's over here tapping out. Let's just go finish the drive instead of waiting and thinking about all he outthought himself. He really did, in my opinion, because the way they rolled down the field so quickly, it was like, all right, what do we do here now? What do we do here now? And he goes back to his 2-for-1 nonsense. Run your best play on third down, so you don't have to worry about going for it on 4th and 4. Run your beater on third down. Stop this nonsense of doing 2-for-1 all the time. So other than that, I will say this. Sark made some incredible adjustments throughout the game. We went back to our old school RPO stuff that I hadn't seen in forever, and he started making that. Yeah, right. Right.
To be honest with you, right. Casey.
He finally realized, all right, we probably should be hitting on a little bit more of marrying that with outside zone concept with Jonathan Brooks instead of trying to mix in inside and then, the rotation with Cedric Baxter, the personnel challenges. There were some issues there. And I completely agree. That's why I agree with Nino in terms of where we're using these backs. I would have liked to see Jaden Blue get an opportunity if we're going to play football like that. If we're going to run those type of plays, put the right person in there that can capitalize on those particular things. But overall, I mean, the issues that we saw come up execution-wise, pre-snap wise, the amount of times we beat ourselves, it's the same thing that popped up in the first 5 games. And so now they have to go into the bye week and say, look, these things that were bothering us in these first 5 games now reared their ugly head against an opponent where you had less margin, Sark, and you still hadn't cleaned that stuff up. Credit to OU, though. Credit to OU in terms of they wanted it more, in my opinion. This football game really came down to the will of that staff. And BV, the last thing I'll say is this. BV, situationally, his emphasis there, like Jay said, BV said first 4 minutes of the game, last 4 minutes a half, first 4 minutes of third quarter, last 4 minutes of the fourth quarter. We have to win those periods. And they won all of them. They won all of them. So our staff has to go back and take a look at these things because this Texas team is way too talented. You consider how locked in Oklahoma was to beat us and the mistakes we committed throughout this game, the penalties we committed throughout this game, the mental errors we committed throughout this game. And they still had almost 600 yards of offense and literally had the lead with a minute to go with the way we were playing. Are you kidding me, Sark? Your team is gifted. Like, I left the game, I'm like, damn, I'm still really high on Texas. We rolled out of bed unprepared, not paying attention, and still almost beat some dudes that were hell-bent on for a year on focus to beat us. So what happens when you guys actually lock in and button those things up the way BB had his kids buttoned up? So that's the challenge to the staff during this bye week and the rest of the season.
Okay, I'm about to get ready to jump real quick. I want to make one statement before I dive in. Steven, you're spot on with that assessment there, and BV saying win the first 4, last 4, first 4, last 4, and that's key. And that's similar to the way the team is playing right now. 20-20. Just do it as best you can. But once you get into that red zone, don't let nothing come in there. Don't be done. Y'all think that you got in the red zone, 3 times? Y'all left with 3 points?
Yeah. Think about it. That was the game.
That was
the game.
Defense. I tell the yards y'all got throughout the game, the 527. Yeah, cool. We'll give that up. You get in that red zone, 3 points. We're not letting you take us on that. And I got to give it to Jonathan Brooks. When he broke that run for that touchdown, I told the people behind me, some Texas fan behind me, I was like, y'all know that's the first rushing touchdown we gave up all season, right?
Yeah.
We don't allow it. We've been stopping folks, and Jonathan Brooks is a monster. And for the most part, we almost kept him out. We kept him out the end zone. What 3 straight plays on the 1.
Oh,
We
yeah, I
even when
hated
y'all put
that.
y'all big
Ugh.
boys out there at that, y'all put the big defensive lineman out there. To
That was
block.
wrong person. That's when CJ
Deshaun
Baxter.
McCullough
CJ
ran up
Baxter
on a
should be in there.
300 and some pounder.
You put your
Fine.
gap runner on a play like that, not your
Get
zone. You
stuffed.
put your gap guy. That's where Steven was getting at earlier, whereas the personnel packages that Sark needs to realize who is he going to play in certain situations. You know, CJ Baxter is a guy that he's a ground and pounder.
Yep.
Right? He's a
Yep.
ground and pounder. You let him go get that 1 yard. That's
Wasn't
what
he
he's
dinged
built
up though?
for.
Wasn't he
I mean,
a little
he's been dinged up all year. I mean,
True.
it's
So
just,
here's my thing.
That's his game.
Here's my thing, see, Cedric shouldn't be playing right now. And this is just my opinion.
No. Hey,
Because of other things going on. No, there's politics going on still. So because of other stuff going on that we know about that we don't need to say, Cedric has to play. So, but he's not healthy enough to play. Put Savion Red in the red package.
That would have been perfect.
That's what we're going to go to.
That brings
just
out
run the Savion Red package.
Yeah, because that did very well against you guys. He ran well out of it. He passed well out of it.
Yeah, you get the extra blocker.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not deep. Why are you over here like why is Sark over here banging his head against the wall? Like,
he's overthought his entire career though. That's just been Sark.
Yeah. Seth, go ahead and chime in, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm out, y'all. Y'all be good.
All right, Jesse.
Go ahead.
All right, Jay.
Go ahead, Seth.
Yeah. Well, one thing I want to address is that, and it's not necessarily anything that anybody here has said, but what I've been seeing, online and different forums, there's a contingent of Texas fans out there that are saying, "Oh, Texas played their C- game. OU played lights out. They played their perfect game, A+." It's obvious to anyone who's not just trying to be, irrational about that neither team played anywhere close to their A game. Neither team. I don't even know if OU honestly played a B+ game, if we want to break it down that way. There were so many missed opportunities on both sides. Obviously, from the OU side, the ones that stick out to me right before halftime, that little short.
DG got to hit that pass, man. He got to hit that pass in stride.
Exactly. That would have been 4 extra points. Then they ended up kicking the field goal, and then there's also that missed field goal we saw from OU later in the I think it was the third or fourth quarter.
The injury kind of iced that brother, man, from kicking. I was like, man, that's a long delay when they had to bring the card out.
That was true. Yeah.
It kind of iced them.
Yeah, it did. It screwed them up.
It was a long delay, yeah. And then for folks watching at home, we had that interruption, but
with the bombing,
ABC interruption.
ABC sucks.
Yeah, there was a lot of problems with ABC. That whole first quarter, it was like glitching.
I was like, what is going on?
I always wanted to be at that game. I really wanted to be at that game.
Seth, I'll give you another one. You guys decide to go for it on 4th and 1 around the 50-yard line. Dylan Gabriel threw it out of bounds.
Yeah.
That's another.
That's another one.
Yeah, I mean that was another one.
But that one, I noted that one. But to me, I can't remember with the Texas DB that was on that play.
That was
Michael
Brooks
Taft.
or Manny Muhammad? Was it? Oh, it was Taft.
Yeah, it was Taft.
It was Taft.
Michael Taft.
Taft against Stoops, right? It was Taft against Stoops.
Yeah. And I felt like he disrupted it enough to where I gave it to him. Like some OU fans want to also point to the block punt being like, oh, that's a missed opportunity, but that's somebody making a play in my opinion. Like we all know how Chris and I feel about OU's punting situation. I mean, it's bad. It's bad. It's been bad all season, and I don't think it's going to get any better.
And some Seth, I thought that would be one of the phases of the games that that actually comes together today. If you'd have told me would have been able to rush for 200 yards, I would have been like Nick. I would have said, "Child, please." I don't know if we're gonna do that, but I know we're gonna throw for a lot of yards. Fact of the matter is that what I think y'all kicker's last name is Auburn.
Yeah, Bird Auburn.
Yeah,
he had a good game.
He came out there and had a hell of a game because each time that he was out there, especially on that last field goal that he hit, I was like, "Oh, he's missing that one for sure." I saw him miss that one.
I thought he was going to miss it too.
Yeah, he missed 2 against Kansas.
I thought it was 2 straight, and he was going to hook it, but he nailed it.
The reverse you guys ran after we got called for excessive celebration, that play, epitomizes the execution problems that kind of only happen in the Red River because you guys knew you had it. Like you could tell the kids got so excited because they were like, wow, this is the look. Like
before the season.
They've run it before and they've got so excited that he flips the ball early. Right?
He was juiced.
He was ready. So excited, right? Like he's like, man, we got it. That doesn't happen in Norman in a normal game, right? Like in a normal game, they execute that 10 out of 10 times, right? So those are the type of things where I think those type of plays happen on both sides, where you kind of like, all right, that's a Red River type of execution thing where it's just like, you know, but normally that stuff kind of dips in as the game goes on too. You see less and less of those things because the guys get more locked in.
Mm-hmm. I want to jump in and say this right here. I'm not going to use the word desperate. I'm going to not use that word, but I will just say this right here. I was shocked. I was surprised. I was baffled that Sark did that fake punt. I really was. I felt like, damn, Sark. I was like, that you because momentum is, because that pig then a touchdown. I was like, that you need to, because
some juice.
Playing from behind is not going to be good.
And then later in that drive, he had the Savion Red pass.
That was on the 4th and 1, right? On the 4th and 2 when he came out there and he had the jump pass.
Sark was pulling out all the stops on that drive for sure. And obviously, it ended with the
with touchdown.
Was it the pick? And then
no, you're right. That was the pick.
Yeah,
that was
but then OU was backed up.
That was
and
the
then
pick where Jatavian.
I thought that ball was a little too high. I mean, the people saying he had both hands on the ball. I was like, look, this is my opinion. The ball came out a little bit late. The ball was high. JT's already banged up. He's reaching for the ball like crazy. He has 2 hands on it. He got popped. Even if he gets both hands on it and tries to bring it in, I still don't think he gets that catch. I think that pop was coming so hard. I don't think he catch. I don't think he secures it. That's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying?
When it happened, I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, I just don't think he catch. I'm just being honest. This is me. I don't care if he gets 2 hands on it or not. That hit was timed so perfectly that ball was coming out regardless. In my opinion, that's just my opinion.
One thing that I can say now, Steven, I am going to hit you on this one. At least now we can say Billy redeemed himself for that whole
for the Bijan. He has another. He has a good meme now. He has a good meme.
What's funny is Billy took out his own dude too, and JT.
Exactly.
Yeah, he was
DR on DR crime right there, man. It's like if all the people to take out on Texas to take out your brethren.
My uncle called me. He said, I could hear him on the TV saying, Billy, why would you do that,
Billy? He rang some bells. Hey, yo, Chris, you look here, man. I'm not going to my Nino session now. I see some comment here from Brian Smith. He said, bro, I'm hearing way too many excuses about what Texas didn't do. Hell, how come y'all can't say, he said, hell, how come y'all can't say that OU played well and BV had it dialed up? Hey, Brian, were you listening to this from the first second?
They didn't listen to anything we said.
Yeah, Brian, I guess you didn't dial in until 5:49 because I sat here and gave a 15-minute rundown about how great your damn team was. And if you don't believe me, you can go watch my video, Nino's Corner Sports, and I gave you guys a whole ton of credit. And guess what? I'm going against some of my own Texas brethren and defending some of you guys on the hit that was on the JT Sanders. Said that is not targeting, folks. That's shoulder to chest. That's a textbook hit. I'm taking flack from my own fan base. So, Brian, please rewind this and go look at this again prior to making those dumbass comments. Next.
Seth, I got a hit. My question for you, Seth, is simply this right here. Do you believe in your heart of hearts that we get a rematch in Arlington
Right after the game and leading up all week, I said yes. But honestly, right now, I think it's the most likely outcome. But in the same way where I feel like Texas still has to, get through that schedule, which it's like obviously they're going to be the better team in every game. OU still got a couple weird, kind of maybe tricky games. Like coming into the season, the number one game on the schedule for me that I felt like was the trickiest was that road game at BYU.
Yeah.
BYU playing good too.
And it wasn't even just because I thought BYU was going to be good. It's just I just watch BYU games and it just seems like teams go in there and don't play like themselves a lot of times. And then BYU just got this weird voodoo magic over OU and Texas, I guess, just historically. But yeah, so it's like that one's so weird.
You got the Kansas game too.
The Kansas game, if Jalen Daniels is healthy, that could turn into a weird shootout that we're not expecting. But obviously, I know OU's going to be favored in every game. But I'll say I do expect both OU and Texas to be in Arlington, but it might happen in a way where it's not like a 12-0 versus 11-1 team. OU might lose one, Texas might lose another one. I don't know. Or I just don't. I think it's not going to be as clean sweep as some people maybe are painting it out to be.
Now I'll toss this one to Nick and Steven. I know y'all got to go soon because we got the Cowboys game coming up. But one thing I just want to say is that I kind of thought that we would beat y'all, and then maybe your only other loss would come against K-State. And I watched them, and those boys are dookie. Like, they're not even curbside pickup from Dairy Queen during COVID, which is trash. They are just dookie. They are complete. They're bad. And it's crazy because Will Howard said, my uncle, he asked me this. He said, "Hey man, do you think Will Howard caught lightning in a bottle?" And I was like, I kind of do, because all the tape on him was old. We all know what he was. We all know it was kind of fraud-like, but I don't know. I'll pass that to you guys and just say, kind of on the back end of your schedule, what do you see as the toughest task to get back to Arlington?
Steven, how about you, man?
So, Will Howard, you could tell he misses Deuce Vaughn and Cade Warner, and, the personnel mattered too, right? And it's not like K-State just reloaded a whole bunch around that. I still think they got some guys on defense though that we have to be there's nobody left on the schedule to where I'm like, if we, I'm just going to be completely dismissive of them, especially until I see us clean up ourselves. I'm still on my whole Texas biggest issue is Texas in the mirror, and that includes our coaching staff and the personnel stuff. So, when we look at the schedule, going to Iowa State, as weird as that sounds, Iowa State beat TCU, and they seem to be ramping up. But Iowa State, the thing is, it's not playing Iowa State so much as it is the environment in which we will play Iowa State. It's going to be cold as hell in Ames the week before Thanksgiving. So I know how some of the brothers from Texas can act when they get in said environment. That should not be an excuse to play football and win, but you know how college football is with these kids sometimes. So that's one game where I'm like, we got to get it back in blood against TCU when they come up here to Fort Worth. That's a big one.
I think they lost Chandler Morris.
Did they?
They did.
Oh, I didn't see that. They did?
I didn't either. I was so wrapped up.
I think they did because the other kid played the whole game that I saw.
I think it was a knee injury too. I know my uncle was telling me that when I was coming back this morning. So yeah,
damn, that sucks for Chandler.
To me, the toughest, I would say that the toughest opponent matchup wise for us is probably going to be BYU.
Yeah.
To finish, and actually, excuse me, twofold for two different reasons, and then I'll pass it in. BYU because of just how they will play in the trench there. It's going to be kind of like you guys, how we'll see somebody else that will punch back. We're not going to be able to bully them, so to speak. Also, very emotional game for Sark. That whole BYU, that's basically the Sark Bowl. The other game is going to be Texas Tech at home.
Yeah.
Because it's the last game in the Big 12.
With Brett Yormark.
And regardless of, I don't care what Tech does, that team walking in is not going to be the team we saw in film the first 11 games. They're going to have, I feel like they have a whole different playbook set aside for Texas for that game. So that's just me being funny, but the Tech game is still hovering around the back of my mind. But that's also the game where we could drop 80 points on somebody too, just to send a message. I don't know. But Nino, I'll pass it to you.
I think the toughest game is going to be BYU, just for the simple fact, same thing, trench work. And then they're usually like an older team too, so they're more experienced, got a lot of continuity. So they're a tough team. I think that's probably going to be the toughest game. I'm not really impressed with Houston at all or Kansas State. TCU, Iowa State, like you said, it's going to be cold up there. However, I think that's a game where, everybody healthy. That's a Brooks game. That's a game where Brooks goes off for another 150 or like 200 yards. That's going to be one of those games where we really run the ball and kind of enforce our will. And if we come to week 12 against Texas Tech and we're 10-1, I pray for Texas Tech. I'm serious. I pray for them because that's going to be a message sent game. Not only to Texas Tech for talking this stuff for the entire year, but also to the Brett, right? That's going to be a tone setting message game. And if we went out, we're going to punch our ticket to Fort Worth or Dallas, not Fort Worth, Dallas, but
Arlington.
Yeah, I'm saying Arlington. And yeah, that's going to be a statement game. If we're 10-1 going in Texas Tech, I pray for Texas Tech.
That's so question for everybody on here. This is something funny. I was walking into the stadium and my uncle said something that I just thought was hilarious. So I got to ask y'all the same question. He said, we make it to the Big 12 championship game. It's us and Texas. Whoever wins, does Brett Yomar, does he magically get COVID during that game and not have to show
it doesn't show up?
I said that too. I've said that too. He's going to get COVID that week. I've said that.
Can't go. Yeah. You know what's funny? Look, I know somebody made a comment, Chris, that said, Jonathan Brooks only had 2 good runs on.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's bullshit. First of all, he had 4 explosive plays, so 4 runs of over 15 yards or more. Give him his props, folks. He had a good game.
There's people still questioning Jonathan Brooks.
Whoever was on that right side, there was a couple of plays where he made a hole for them to run through.
That was DJ Campbell. He's a hell of a run blocking guy. I mean, he made some holes for Brooks where I was like, Lord have mercy. That's like a Emmitt Smith Dallas Cowboy Mack truck hole. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Brooks just went through.
DJ had some plays yesterday where he threw some people out the club for sure, especially on some of those runs to that side. That was, but I don't know how people are still questioning Jonathan Brooks. The political stuff with running backs at Texas just beats me, man. We have a Doak Walker candidate again 2 years in a row, and people are asking just these ridiculous questions.
Look, he's off the bums list for now, okay? But I will say this, though. I saw JT out there. I just gonna say he was getting tossed around. You know what I'm saying? It didn't look. Hey,
he didn't have his best game. He didn't have his best game. I saw
Ethan Downs.
It
wasn't just Billy. Everybody was eating on that plate right there that day.
He didn't have his best game. We'll say that. I was proud of
OU fans. I'm looking at Captain's thing. There's no more questioning of Dylan Gabriel in your fan base, right? Like. There's nobody else pushing for Jackson Arnold or, like the whole, he could run this offense better. He would have 40.
I mean, when I at the point in the game, I think I was already 27-27 and Texas was driving. And at that point, I'm like praying to God, to Jesus, to my late grandmother. I'm praying to everybody, like, please, something happen. But then I tweeted out, I said, no matter what happens at the end of this game, I'm just proud of the fight that OU brought. And people were jumping in and tweeting, OU fans were responding to me. It felt like OU's about to lose, or at least definitely lose the lead. And they were saying, a few people were, like, oh, this is on Gabriel. He was, he just missed way too many passes, So I think those fans are still out there. I think there's that contingent of OU fans that are still not fully on board the Dylan Gabriel bandwagon. And I mean, I just don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't know what else he has to do to at least pull. I think those people will just never be satisfied. Like if Jackson Arnold stepped in as a starter, for those people, they'd be asking where General Booty's at, 3 plays in. They'd be like, where's the next guy? They're always looking for the next one. They'd be asking where Michael Hawkins is, like, he's still in high school. Like, you never satisfy those people.
I will say this right here. I will say this. Dylan Gabriel, I'm sorry.
You need to apologize to your quarterback.
What am I sorry for? I'm sorry for calling you Landry Jones 2.0 too many times. Okay.
Apologize to that man. Do it again, Chris.
Landry Jones, statistically best quarterback you can call it, best quarterback ever to play at OU, but games like this, no. Took one man to win a game like this, and it was Dylan Gabriel, of all people. So shout out to you. Tip my cap to you. It is what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But like Dylan said, you know, fun day at the fair.
It
was a good game. It was a good game. Look, hats off to OU, man. I give props where props are due. Hats off. Hell of a game. Talking to Seth prior to the to the show was, man, them dudes were, I mean, it was like a roller coaster, right? So I mean, it just is what it is, man. Just hell of a game. Somebody had to lose the game. Unfortunately for me, it was Texas, but it is what it is. I think Steven has to go, man.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, Steven, go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you at. And
Yeah. Fanatic Perspective. Everybody over on YouTube, you can see my immediate emotional post-game analysis and everything. But in all seriousness, I am, thankful to have, you guys having me on, and congratulations straight up to the OU fan base, and, well-deserved victory. That's a hell of a football team they have up there up north. And I think the questions I had about Dylan Gabriel were answered. I think the questions I had about Brent Venables were answered, and I was very impressed. So we'll see how things roll out the rest of the season. I'm 100% on board with Nino in terms of Texas-wise refocusing on the next opponent, which is Houston, and we'll deal with Arlington if we earn the right to get to Arlington. We have to earn the right to get to Arlington before we start having those conversations. This team hasn't, all the goodwill and all that. I'm still high on the team. Nino's still high on the team, but it needs to be a week-to-week focus, and they have a lot to clean up in order to be considered a great football team and play up to their potential. So we'll see if Sark and crew are able to do it. But thanks for having me on, fellas. I appreciate it.
Yeah. See you, bro. So I'm gonna say this right here. I know Seth has to go. I know Nick just left. I mean, not Nick, but Steven just left. Nick's about to go as well. So I'm gonna say this right here. Nick, go ahead. Tell everybody where they can find you at as well.
Yeah, man. Go to Nino's Corner Sports on YouTube, Twitter, Nino's Corner, everything else, TikTok, Instagram, the same stuff. Just go in there, man. Follow me. I do a lot of content, not just for Texas, but, also with the SEC Connect and also Bleacher Report as well. So anywhere you find college football, you will see your boy.
Seth, tell everybody where they can find you at, bro.
Right now, you can only find me in one place and one place only, and that is on Twitter. I'm in kind of laying low, just working a lot, but you can find me Twitter at Seth Oliveras. Probably won't, I joked last time, I ain't too hard to find, and you type in one keyword and you're gonna come up with 1 million of my tweets. So it's all love though, it's all in good fun. So we try to keep it light.
So before I go, like I said, another fun day at the fair. Nick, can I get a boomer from you?
Hell no.
Okay. I was gonna let you off easy, but now I have to do this one thing, my parting shot. All right.
Go ahead. I already know what you're gonna do. I know what you're gonna do when I read that quote. I know what you're gonna do. I know what you're gonna do. Go ahead and play it.
I'm about to throw the wild card at you then.
Go ahead and play it.
No. I ain't. I'm gonna hit you with this parting shot right here. Kelvin Banks still a first rounder.
Yes.
Child, please.
There's a lot of great OU podcasts.